Okay. Hi, I'm Beatrice Go and welcome to Rappler Talk. Today we're with Philippines two-time SEA Games gold medalist in the men's triathlon, Nikko Huelgas. Nikko bagged the Philippines' second SEA Games gold medal with a time of 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 30 seconds. He's now here to share his journey on how he has become one of the best triathletes in the country and also, as well as his future endeavors. So, hi Nikko, welcome back.
Hello.
To start things off, congratulations on your back-to-back SEA Games gold medal. So can you share your thoughts about it?
Yeah, thank you very much. I was very happy enough to be able to win again the gold and defend my title. It's always my goal to be the best that I can be as an athlete. It's more than just winning a gold medal. It's about making sure I reach my peak potential and being able to make sure that I live my day as if it was my last and reach my peak. So there are no regrets, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, speaking of reaching your peak potential, was this your personal best time?
I believe so. I felt that the race was my best performance ever in terms of how I felt, and I guess my best time in terms of the splits.
I see. So, how did you prepare for this race?
Well,
Like,
for the SEA Games
yeah.
2017, it was always been an all year round training camp for us. We only had a few weeks of off seasons in a year's time, and we were always consistent in training and racing, whether it's international or local. And actually, that's a good thing because there are a lot of regional and local races here in the Philippines, and they really challenge us and make sure it gives us a goal to stay motivated besides the cash prize to keep us going as professional athletes. Of course, we can't live by some allowances alone. So, you know, it's a big help for us Philippine athletes that we get to get some incentives for racing in these local races.
So, what are examples of these local races, the significant ones that you joined?
Well, I think all of them are very significant because the organization is always pretty good. They took care of us, the locals. So for the whole 6 months preparing for the SEA Games, actually this was my year that I had a lot of local races, the regional ones to be specific. So I was able to go to Davao for the first time. I raced in Musaman, Tridavnor. So hi sa mga taga Davao. It was amazing being there because not only you get to experience the race course, but also you get to meet a lot of locals, a lot of support, and it makes you realize that there are a lot of people who look up to you, even from the regional sector who are very far from your city, because I'm from Las Piñas, and I felt so overwhelmed, and I felt like a local person to them, and I felt the love from these local triathletes. So again, besides Davao, we also went to Capiz, in Visayas. It was my first time, and again, it was amazing.
Wow.
So those are the two. Oh yeah, and Pangasinan, where we did Tigasin triathlon.
Oh.
That I won. So they call me certified Tigasin. That's what they call if you won that event.
Oh, I see. That's pretty. Okay, and then okay, sorry, going back to the SEA Games this year. So can you compare the SEA Games 2015 in Singapore and this SEA Games, like in terms of the level of competition or even the outdoor conditions?
Well, so far the level of competition I believe is still the same. They were always tough. So you can never be complacent in thinking you're gonna win again, not only because of your competitors, but because also of the outdoor environment. You can never tell if it's going to rain. You can never tell if you're going to get a flat tire. So as much as you prepare your best, sometimes there are things that you cannot control. So it's always a pressure for us approaching to any race. But more than that, back in 2015, I was more pressured compared to 2017 because it was my first SEA Games. And it was the only race, I believe, that I really got pressured to get a gold medal. They told the federation really wanted me to get a gold medal for the country because it's my first time to compete, and we haven't had a gold medal in triathlon ever since. So it was like an all or nothing based on my kind of perception. So now in 2017, I approached it in a more relaxed way. I felt that since I already won the SEA Games in 2015, there's nothing to lose on my part if ever I don't win a gold in 2017, even if I really do have a lot to lose. But I just took it as a reverse psychology to make sure I stay relaxed and stay focused on what I needed to do in order for me to win the gold for the country.
I see. What about in terms of like the terrain, the outdoor conditions, like Singapore versus Malaysia?
Well, for the Singapore 2015, if I could remember, the waves were choppy on the beach because it was a beach start in East Coast Park. In 2017, it was a pontoon start in a very calm lake in Putrajaya, Lakeview. So there, that alone already dictates that I had an easier time on the swim leg in Putrajaya in Malaysia. So by that time I went to the bike, I was more relaxed in charging the bike leg. So from there, the roads are the same in Singapore. At the same time, Malaysia, it was all flats. And on the run, it was the same thing. I think it was just a little bit hotter in Malaysia.
Oh, I see.
I think, in Singapore, I believe.
Yeah, they're very close to each other anyway. So, what do you think was your advantage over your competitors this year?
I think it was because of our international camps. We really invested a lot in training abroad compared to training locally, because the federation believes that there's a higher chance of improving if you are out of your comfort zone being abroad. You don't have to worry about paying the bills because somebody will surely do it for you back in the Philippines. Oh, it's away from distractions, away from alcohol, or anything that vice for any human being, right? Because there are a lot of temptations. But if you're really away from your country, you really get to stay focused and have plenty of time to focus on what you needed to do to improve on yourself and the whole planning situation for you to make sure you deliver the best possible result on the games.
I see. So it was only the federation who sponsored you, or?
No, we had a lot of sponsors, and we are thankful for that. Like Go for Gold, Scratch It, Century Tuna, and Chooks to Go. They were very supportive. Besides my personal, because I take multivitamins.
Yes.
Isana.
I see. And then, was there any government support in this?
Oh, definitely. It was supported by the Philippine Sports Commission.
Yeah.
But definitely, the Philippine Sports Commission has always been supportive in any plans of any national athlete. It's the National Federation that will always be one of the keys to making sure you get that support funding from the Philippine Sports Commission. So I owe a lot to the Triathlon Association of the Philippines from Sir Tom Carrasco. It's a big part talaga. And people may not see that Sometimes kasi they assume it's the Philippine Sports Commission's problem but it's not. It's always everybody who's connected. And it has to be a very smooth relationship for all the parties.
I see. Okay, so in the perspective of an athlete, so you know that the Philippines has dropped to its worst finish since 1999 in terms of the gold medal tally. So how do you feel about it, and what can be done better, especially that we're hosting 2019 SEA Games?
I have really mixed emotions about this, but definitely I'm really not happy with the result. I know we could have done more, but in this case, sometimes you can't blame anybody but yourself on those occasions, diba? But you just have to analyze what did we do wrong? On our case, I was just based on what I said about the mixed emotions, I was just really happy enough that we were one of the best sports in the country who delivered the best result for Team Philippines, bagging in and making it gold and sweep, both gold in the men's and women's category. So there's nothing, I don't think we didn't do anything wrong in our federation, so it's probably the outside factor. But on that terms, you always have to consider that we are not the host country during the 2017. That would mean we have a lot of opportunities that we lost because the host country, Malaysia, didn't include some of our best sports specifically weightlifting. They took out Heidelin Diaz's event, including Maria Salamat's individual time trial in the cycling category. Ang dami eh. And of course, I'm pretty assuming there are a lot of other sports that we could have added ourselves that they don't want to include.
I see. So, how are looking forward to 2019? What do you think should the government do, or like the sports commission should do to help us, like at least level up our standings in the
medal tally?
Yeah.
Definitely, we have to include in the hosting of the games all of the sports that we know we have the potential in winning a medal, especially the gold medal. That's one. Second would be they have to follow a system that would suit their personal needs depending on the sport. Because as a triathlon, with triathlon, we have already followed a system that really suited us, being able to train abroad. But for some sports like training here locally and still winning the gold, they don't have to follow what we do. Like for example, the Gilas. I don't think they really didn't train abroad. I think they trained locally, but they scouted athletes from international levels. So that's a different system. So it really depends on the sport, and they need to do a double time on this pursuit of finding out the system that really suits their federation or their team.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2019. That's in 2 years.
Yeah, trust me, for a national athlete, every day counts and time flies so fast.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so moving on to your life as a triathlete. So based on the previous interviews, you've always wanted to become a national athlete for the Philippines.
Yeah.
How and when did this start?
It started in 2005 when Manila hosted the SEA Games. So the promotions were big, and it came all the way to Las Piñas, to a high school boy like me. And I was already a badminton player for my high school, and back in Elizabeth Seton. So from there, I just got curious about this event, what it is, what's the SEA Games, and who competes there. And that's where I discovered the whole national team. And I was so inspired, and I got moved with how it works and how you could be able to do so many honorable things being a national athlete. You get to inspire a lot of people, you get to represent the country, and you know that you have lived a very fulfilled and honorable life being a national athlete. You have served a lot of people.
I see. So who exactly inspired you? Or was there anyone in particular?
Specific?
Yeah.
I think every national athlete who did their best in the games really inspired me. Being a national athlete, for some people who don't know, is the greatest image of the word discipline. Because being an athlete requires so much discipline and commitment. And to become a national athlete, you need to have the highest amount of discipline more than anybody in this world.
You said you were in the high school badminton team, but
Yeah.
then when you shifted, when you were in college, you were a LaSalle green tanker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why did you shift from badminton to swimming?
Yeah. A year after the SEA Games, I moved to swimming because the moment I learned about the SEA Games, I really wanted to make sure that I get this. I had that grit.
Yeah.
So I studied it. So I asked myself, how am I going to be a national athlete in a specific sport that I know I'm going to excel? And I knew right away that badminton was never going to be for me. So I couldn't waste time. I had to move to a different sport. There came swimming. And our swimming team actually is handled by the Bert Losada Swimming School. And that swimming school has a very good system in developing national athletes. They have a good history compared to badminton, which they had never produced. So with Bert Losada, it was much easier for me to progress as a swimmer and as an athlete. I was able to, in a span of a year, I was able to compete to national levels and even regionals like the Palarong Manila, although I almost had it to qualifying for the Palarong Pambansa, but I guess it wasn't for me and I joined the wrong events. So moving on, at least, and thankfully I was able to qualify and join the varsity swimming team in DLSU because the people there are very good. As in, most of them are national athletes So I really got pushed. So from there, the year later, there was a fun run in 2009. I just joined it just for the sake of it. It was just in Las Piñas as well. And luckily I won. And on that race, where I won, a national coach was there and approached me and asked if I was a swimmer. I said, yeah, I was. So he invited me to join an aquathlon, a swimming and running program. So I joined because he told me that if you join this and if you do good, I can consider you into the national triathlon team. So it was there. My mind changed and everything stopped from there, and I focused myself totally on qualifying for the national team for the triathlon with that kind of statement. So all year round, for the whole 2009, I didn't focus on swimming. I focused on triathlon by joining more aquathlon races, and then I bought a bike, and next thing you know, a year later, I'm now a national athlete.
Wow!
Living the dream.
Living the dream talaga.
Sobra.
So, was the difficult, was the transition from being a swimmer to a triathlete difficult? Or what were the out of the three disciplines, which one did you have to focus more on?
Well, first of all, the transition wasn't that hard compared to a lot of people who just wanted to join the sport. I did it step by step. And luckily, swimming is the hardest thing to improve for a triathlete because it demands so much training time. It demands so much skill level that you have to learn before you can actually transition to gaining endurance and speed. So from there, I just needed to buy a bike and learn how to do it. But since I already do BMX when I was a little kid, I didn't have to learn as much skill as I needed to. So from there, I guess it was destiny talaga. It was destiny talaga, getting into the national triathlon team. So hard work works talaga. But then, what I needed to improve on was cycling. Because while I was studying in DLSU in Taft, I couldn't bike anywhere there. So I had to go home in Las Piñas on the weekends and bike on my own because I didn't know a lot of people. So I would bike with my running shoes and not on my bike shoes, going into Danghari on my own.
I see. So who are the specific people who helped you kickstart this career?
A lot, definitely. It would definitely have to be Coach Rick, who discovered me. Then Coach George, who took care of me for 5 years, leading up to the 2015 SEA Games. And now, my training mates, Rambo, who won the silver in the SEA Games, and my coach right now, Coach Melvin Foster.
Yeah.
So I think everybody helped me along the way, generally speaking, because everybody who I encountered, everyone taught me a lesson and shaped me who I am today right now.
I see. So, being a national triathlete, is there like one significant competition that really made you realize that, yeah, this is my thing?
I think it was the Asian Games back in 2010. That year, in 2010, that was the first time I became a national athlete. And then immediately after joining my first international race, 4 months after, in Subic Bay, I got into the national pool, specifically for the Asian Games in Guangzhou in November. So I had like 4 months or 5 months to prepare for it. And I took a 2-semestral leave in DLSU just to make sure I deliver a good result in this Asian Games. And just take note, for the Asian Games, it's the second biggest sporting event next to Olympics. So the level is very high. And for you to get in to get a slot for that event, it's crazy. And I really risk it all. I almost didn't made the cut. I only got the slot like 2 weeks before the event.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a hit or miss. So I can't say that I deserve it, but I think I really worked hard for it because I really threw in all of my cards. But yeah, after getting on the Asian Games, I placed 11th, and I was the youngest in the whole field of 22 athletes.
Wow.
Yeah, and I won that 11th on a sprint finish with 3 other athletes. It was crazy. And I won that sprint. So it's like 1/4.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was crazy. But yeah, that right there, I knew I'm going to stick to this sport for as long as I can.
I see. So, what realizations have you reflected on throughout this journey naman as a national triathlete?
Well, a lot of things came into my life, both up and downs, and there are a lot of lessons, and all of these lessons has changed my perspective in life, from failures to success, from earning money, from losing money, from heartbreaks, from anything. And from there, one thing that I've learned is that you need to be practical in everything that you do. You need to make practical decisions to make sure that you are at par with your goal. If you know it's not going to work, and then maybe it's probably showing that you're drifting away from your goal or your purpose in life. So if it doesn't work, maybe it's not really for you. And sometimes nobody can ever answer that question but you. So you need to always be open-minded. You always need to be aware and never ever be complacent in everything that you pursue.
I see. So to your fans and for those who actually want to start with the triathlon, what are some tips that you could share to them? Because it seems very intimidating at the start that you have to learn swimming, biking, and running for just one competition.
Yeah, and to think, to be prepared for this, we don't see it as a 3 sports. It's not a swim, bike, run. It's a 6 sport based on what I see.
Oh?
So it's swim, bike, run, relationship, diet, and everything else. So that's how it is. So that's the challenge of being a triathlete. You're balancing everything that you encounter in life.
And so it's actually 5 sports plus plus plus.
Plus. It's uncountable, if you ask me. But yeah, so my tips would definitely be something that I did myself and was effective. So I started with just one sport. It could be swimming or it could be running. So from swimming, it's best that you join a swimming team or get a good coach. Take it very personal and try to do one-on-one sessions to make sure you get that giant leap of learning curve. And from there, after you've done and learned the skill of swimming, then you join a fun run. Work for it. Just start with 3 kilometers or even 5 kilometers if you can. Then if you enjoyed it doing the 5-kilometer run, then do 2 sports like what I did, aquathlon. I think there's everyone every year at an aquathlon. That was my first. I enjoyed it. And I believe there are 5 aquathlons in a year all over the country. So people will always have an opportunity to try it. And last but not least, if you enjoyed aquathlon and you enjoyed endurance sports, then you can buy a bike and do triathlon. If you didn't enjoy the aquathlon, don't buy a bike, don't do triathlon. Ganun lang yan eh. Either you enjoy endurance sports or you don't.
So you actually started aquathlons.
Yes. It's the best way to really engage into the multisport industry. Either that or do duathlons, but I prefer you do aquathlons first if you want to do a triathlon.
I see. So, but if you didn't pursue being a national athlete, what is some other thing that you would have pursued, like the other side of Nikko Huelgas?
The other side of me?
Yeah.
I guess I would still be a swimmer in DLSU at that time. So if I graduated and not pursued multi-sport events, which I knew I was pretty good at, I would have just entered a company or so, being a PR and events person, going to and from. Definitely not in a corporate setting or a 8-hour desk job. That's not for an ADH guy like me. But yeah, it's more of engaging with people, going to and from different places. A traveling person.
I see. I'm sure a lot of people learned about you today.
I hope so.
Yeah, so, okay, so now going into the future, so what's next for you?
Well, what's next for me? I think I would have to include the whole national team for this, but it would definitely be the 2018 Asian Games in Palembang, Indonesia. It's going to happen on August, so it's going to be my 3rd time to try to qualify for the Asian Games. I'm not sure if it's going to be my last, but we never know, right? And of course, the 2019 Philippines SEA Games. I think it's going to be in Subic, if I'm not mistaken. We don't know, but definitely I'm gonna go for a 3-peat or even a 4-peat because we will be adding up the mixed relay, which we have a chance of winning the gold as well. Then from there, definitely I'll be consistently training because like what I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of local races and I still want to join most of them. A lot of the ones on the regions in Davao again, or even General Santos, Visayas, and Cebu, or Cagayan, or stuff like that.
What about the Olympics?
Olympics? Oh, definitely that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
But that's about 3 years away pa.
Yeah.
But definitely I try to take it one race at a time and year per year. I just pray to God, you know, every single day. I pray that I don't get injured. That's
yes.
something I fear most. Because being injured means you're not able to do the sport that you love.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. But everything else, I'm game for any struggle or pressure or any faults in life.
Yeah. So how do you actually qualify for the 2020 Olympics, like
Well,
from like 2017 to now?
To now,
to,
yes.
to the 2020.
Well, the Olympic qualifiers will start next year in August. So there will be World Cups and a World Triathlon Series races. From these two events that are spread out all over the world in different continents, we need to join them and gain points, specifically Olympic points. So we need to make sure we get top 30 to top 50 at least, to make sure we get those points, and through accumulation of points of joining these races all over the world, we will be able to get a ranking in the Olympics. So you need to make sure you get a really good ranking in the Olympics 3 months before Tokyo. So about May before Tokyo, 2020. So the journey has already begun, and it's continuous, and hopefully everything goes well with the journey.
Yeah. Which competition are you eyeing for, like first in the qualifying meets?
Olympics. So far, for now, we don't know yet, but we will be planning that in next year's time. For now, I just need to make sure my body is pretty well. My fitness level is very high, enough for me to be ready for the world-class athletes, because the level is extremely high. And there's no room for error in competing in these games.
Yeah, so you don't seem to have an off season, do you? Like,
I believe we do. We just enjoy our on season, you know, because we're living the dream, like what we mentioned. We get to compete in these regional races where we consider it sometimes as racecation.
racecation?
Yeah, because we're booked in a hotel nearby the beach. Yeah, and you don't feel as pressured as the SEA Games, and it's just a lot of fun.
I see. So do you actually plan on like venturing to other like endurance meets, like for example Kona, like the Ironman?
The full Ironman distance.
The full Iron.
Definitely, I'm considering it, but it's a faraway goal. It will come definitely, but for now, I'm focusing on my specialty and specifics, which is the Olympic distance, draft legal races. But definitely, I'll be joining some 70.3 races, the half Ironman races. I'll be joining the Phuket 70.3 this November in Thailand. Then I might probably do Davao 70.3 as well. The half Ironman on March 2018. Well, I hope the federation allows me.
Yes.
But definitely, I'm excited to do it.
Yeah. How different is it, like competing for the Olympic distance and the 70.3?
It's a little bit different because you need to do more cycling than swimming in 70.3 races, because since it's non-drafting, you can't really be at the back of a cyclist. So you need to do the whole 90-kilometer bike on your own, compared to the 40-kilometer bike in the Olympic distance with some person. So it's all on you on a 70.3, and it's much longer. So we will be doing a lot more hours in training.
I see. Have you joined any 70.3 competition before?
Yeah, last year I did the Phuket 70.3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was my first time, and it was hell, I tell you. hell. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the suffering. I won bronze, by the way, and I'm not gonna come back with the bronze again. I'm gonna get the gold this time.
Yeah, you better.
Yeah,
just kidding.
I'm going for the vengeance. So yeah, I'm gonna work for that, definitely.
Yeah, that's great, because Kona is also coming up, right? 2017.
Yeah, definitely. It's the highest level of long distance triathlon event in the world. So the biggest guys in long distance triathlon will be there. and we'll be gunning for the crown.
Yes, I'm sure Philippines can do it.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess that's all for today. Okay, thank you so much, Nikko. So we've been talking to Nikko Huelgas. He talked about his SEA Games stint, his journey as a national triathlete, and also his future endeavors. So that includes Asian Games and Tokyo 2020. So I'm Beatrice Go. Thank you for joining us.